This weapon. This fucking weapon. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. As soon as I saw her and didn't brick her, she became my muse. Perfect skills and resists, and only 3% off perfect damage with a useful slam. I'm still salty about the puzzle box only giving us 2 sockets on that 2 to 4 range, but it's still a hell of a damage stick. Because of this, I decided to make an art project, my mortal attempt to maximize the value of this spectacular weapon. This is my quote-unquote Zealer of Season 4. I normally end up with a character of this type, and I'm probably going Werewolf Fury in Season 5. I will note I leveled this on with bow, not spear, only switching once I found this weapon, so I'll admit I have less understanding of how this plays while leveling, but that shouldn't affect the scores. This is Wappn8r with the Pokezon? Pokezon. Let's get right into it. Single target. If you watch my Zealer power ranking, I said the Zealer only loses on single target to similar classes that dump to shield. Well, the Zealer hits 4.7 times per second maximum. This poker hits 5.4 times per second, currently configured with the Faith Mercenary, and can even go a little higher than that. Once you factor in Deadly Strike and Crit, I'm hitting for about 17,000 average per hit, instead of the 11,000 of my Crafters League Zealer, which Senpai called Juiced Out.
Probably is juiced out.
You are missing the amp damage of Exile from the Paladin, but if you have a teammate bringing it, then simply put, this is the ultimate single target damage dealer. It's a 10 out of 10 on single target. AoE. As with all Zealer types, you're not doing great AoE because you're hitting single targets, albeit very quickly and with the PD2 splash. You do have Fend, which is more for hitting a group of enemies, though it doesn't seem to matter too much switching from jab to Fend when you're surrounded. You do have that increased damage compared to the Zealer, so I'm going to land it here at a 4 out of 10. Safety. It's a melee character with no shield, so it's going to be capped on how high it can reach on safety, but the Stone Raven does help with its resists. I did build it somewhat as a glass cannon. You probably should push for the 50% PDR cap with the usual suspects of Shaft Stop, Vamp Gaze, and Dungo's String. I think a Crown of Ages would be in our future as a late game option, as the FHR is also heavily useful. You do get the passives on defensive skills of Evade and Dodge. Their chances aren't super high, but for the damage you only need to max Jab, Fend, and Spear Mastery, so you can have the points available to dump into one of those passive skills if you so choose, or just have a pair of OK Valks to tank a bit, as I do. As you do so much damage so quickly, you leech a lot, but with all the things that normally come along for melee classes, we're getting a 5 out of 10 here on safety. Ubers. Like the Zealer, you kick ass at Ubers. Use a life tap wand on Meph if you have to, but you really tear through those bosses. Once we were fully kitted out, it was incredible going in alongside Lawsuit Summonson. Charging into the front lines as another Valkyrie. We shredded them faster than I've ever seen. It was absolutely insane. 8 out of 10 on Ubers. Gearing ease. Yes, as with most physical characters, it's all about the weapon. But you don't need a weapon like this. A non-ethereal Lycander's Flank does half of what this item does. With a good slam and an upgrade to Elite, it can approach 2/3 of this weapon. You need some PDR, but a lot of those pieces aren't too tough to find. Vamp Gaze, String, Shaft Stop costing Mal or something each. Also a Faith Mercenary really helps your attack speed take off, but Amp works too and is cheaper to get in the early game. Just because of the faith in the weapon, it's going to get a lower score here, but you have a solid mid-game option, and you can level with Charge Strike or Lightning Strike until you get that really good weapon. I'm also really looking forward to using what we learned in the Crafters League season, as we continue to play these types of classes. All season long, we'll keep crafting and hope to find a 40 IAS 400 ED weapon with Amp on it. Overall, though, I'm giving a 5 out of 10 on Gearing Ease. Playstyle Ease. Poke and poke some more. You gotta be quick on the rejuve button because you're up in the fray, but just keep poking and leeching. It's an easy 9 out of 10. Total. 41 out of 60 is a 6.83. Pretty good score for this type of character. Although, I'd obviously recommend a standard Zealer in Hardcore. This was definitely a fun version of the class, and especially if you find a crazy spear next season, I'd highly recommend giving it a shot. Or if you play Zealer all the time, just play it, man, and Maybe it'll be the start of a beautiful friendship. One last administrative thing. Here's looking at you, Kordesh, who made a power ranking video in this style for the Fist of Heaven's Paladin, so go check that out. Link should be in the description. Thanks. Later.